hour, but we'll tell you guys as we go. I'm Chris Spags, joined by my good pal, the Chubster Josh Engelman. Glad to see you not shoving 100 different pizza rolls in your face today, buddy.
Yeah, last time I left you, things were not great for me.
They were the best for me, though, ironically enough.
Oh, God, man, that was brutal. So best part of it all, God, I'm not going to get the day right, but yeah, I banged out that other 50-bagger either Sunday afternoon or Monday afternoon. I think Monday.
Wow. You weren't sick of it at all?
No. Well, I mean, I didn't really want it, but I needed to get rid of that bag. So, yeah, banged down another 50 later on in the weekend like a boss.
Wow. That was a fact that I was not aware of, but I guess I'm proud of you for getting back on the horse that soon.
Now, I feel and look disgusting still from it.
Like, I did the same thing. I didn't do anything noteworthy on camera. I just ate like dog crap all weekend and woke up on Tuesday like, oh, I have to be on camera looking at my fat face.
What's funny is I ate well after that. I went and got a piece of salmon, made some broccoli and stuff on Saturday. I tried to really rein it in because it wasn't feeling great there off the jump. And then by Monday, I was like, well, I'm just going to go right back to those pizza bites.
It's funny how little we recall from the things that we just experienced.
Very true. Yeah, I've learned note lessons.
And you know what tomorrow is, Josh? You're not eating anything, but it's a big day with the NBA Finals coming up. And we are, in fact, Josh, I'm telling you this, not the viewers. We're doing an NBA Finals giveaway where you can win.
I've already plugged this today, man. You don't got to tell me.
Where you, Josh, you can personally win a free year of all access, plus a one-on-one coaching session with Osmo at Osmo DFS on Twitter if you want to follow him. But Osmo, Alex Baker, the actual human being. All you have to do, Josh, and also anybody listening and watching this, I guess you can also do it. If you go to the at Osmo_com Twitter, you will see a pinned tweet right now. You must retweet and follow the Osmo_com Twitters and the Osmo NBA Twitters. But all you have to do, guess the total number of points that the Warriors and the Raptors are going to score in game one. And you can win that free year of all access pass, as well as the one-on-one coaching session. That's a $700 value plus, I guess, priceless technically, because Alex's time technically doesn't have a price. So overall, the deal is there. But go to the Osmo_com Twitter. It's really clearly laid out. All you have to do is reply, give us the point total, do the following thing, do the retweet thing, and you'll be good to go. It's our little finals gift to you. Josh, what would you think that over-under would be?
That's a great question. I don't know. I would pick a number remotely close to the game total, and I would find one that no one else had picked yet. Probably an odd number, since for some reason people stick to even numbers. But other than that.
Okay. Well, yeah, the combined total right now is 213.5, unless that's changed in the last few hours. So, 213. There you go. We just gave you a free guess. Probably somebody's already guessed that, but chime in there. Give your guess right now on the Osmo_com Twitter. And also, Josh, there's something that we're doing on the channel shortly after we finish up, right?
Yeah, the boss man himself. He was just with you guys for an hour. At 7:15, a video will go live with him and Chris Randone, and they'll be talking about ownership in FC Pro. Video is ready to go, so as soon as we're done, it'll be available on the YouTube channel. Check that out Live Before Lock PGA edition, 9 p.m. tonight for the Memorial. Ben Raza, Jason Roslin, covering all of the good golf stuff.
Lots of content. So subscribe, hit that notification bell. We have tons of content going on here all the time. The MLB Strategy Show, which had some helpful tidbits in the first 15 minutes. A lot of people in the premium Slack talking about that today. My Four Corners video, the short form thing, me talking about as fast as a human being can talk in an 8-minute video. That's what we're doing every day. So lots of stuff on the channel. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, when we go live. All right. Whew, that's a lot of plugs.
There's a lot of plugs. We did pretty well.
We're a thriving company. We need to make sure people are aware of stuff. So we apologize. We hate doing too much up front, but we do have some stuff here. And hopefully that NBA giveaway, hopefully one of you guys win that. We prefer it's somebody who's watching this particular show right now, but don't tell the other guys that.
I hope I win. I could use a free sub.
Yeah, you could talk to the boss for an hour. That'd be great.
It would be great.
All right, so let's talk about pitching here. We do have one pitcher up top I feel like we just need to hit on because he's been the thumbnail for all of the content we've had today. I've also seen some chat now because we featured him so much. A lot of people in some of the live chats we've had on the deeper dive, I saw it, and some people just in comments in general today. Talk about going against Blake Snell. And, look, I like getting against a high-owned pitcher who's got some weaknesses to look at. I see no weaknesses for Blake Snell. And I know this could be blown up in my face in a second when he gives up 3 home runs, and that's just the way DFS goes. But love everything he's doing. He's missing bats. He's just been good. You could argue he's actually been a little bit unlucky with the results. His BABIP a little bit higher than it should be. Maybe his home run rate might trickle down a little bit. A perfect spot here versus a Blue Jays team who's bad versus lefty pitching. I'm above the field on Snell, and I actually had to fight myself to not go too above the field on him. What are you doing with Blake Snell today?
Yeah, I'm going to have a decent amount of him. I assume that I'll end up being around the field when all is said and done. Walker Buehler is the guy that I want a little bit more of. But I don't have a single bad thing to say about Blake Snell. He's the best pitcher on the slate, and really the only problem is simply just he's priced in a tier that no one else is a part of. So I think Walker Buehler is easier to use, but I will certainly be using 30-ish plus % of Blake Snell or more. I mean, I wouldn't care what number I got. I would just want it to be something.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I think I want more Snell than not. I think obviously there's a certain point where it's probably diminishing returns, and maybe you can go some other places just in the hopes that maybe he doesn't have that big of a day, and you get two other guys like the Lopez's. I think are two guys who people are going to a lot, and I don't know that I fully agree with both of them. But let's say they both get there to 20 fantasy points, and Snell has 25. Then yeah, you're probably fine. So I get from a logic of a tournament construction standpoint, I get why you wouldn't go to Snell, but just overall, I mean, at 18.7% swing strike rate on the year, 35% chase rate, getting 12.6 Ks per nine. And again, a little bit unlucky with home runs, 3.3% home run rate compared to 2.5% going back to last year. His BABIP also at 0.3, which is up a little bit from 0.25 going back to last year, or 250, I guess, if you want to say that. Yeah, I just really don't see an argument to go against Snell here besides just trying to differentiate from a tournament perspective.
Yeah, he's just really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. Talk to me about Walker Buehler, because you did mention him as a guy, and he is ownership-wise pretty much right there with Snell. Not, I guess, a little bit further behind now, but still close. And the team total going against the Mets, 3.2 implied runs going against Walker Buehler. Also not a bad one, but to me, the strikeout stuff, not quite there as much. And there are some hitters there who I just don't love going against, because I feel like the Mets just always throw a few curveballs, so to speak, at you in terms of their hitting. And, guys like Alonso, Conforto, they do have the power to do some damage. Wilson Ramos, too. Todd Frazier even does hit righties pretty well. So I think there's enough risk for me where I had less Buehler, but I still am actually closer to the field than I thought I would be. But give me your thoughts on why Buehler is a worthwhile play.
Yeah, I got 55% on my last crunch, actually. We'll see where that ends up as we keep moving forward. So I think the Mets are a slightly better strikeout matchup than the Blue Jays are. But I think Blake Snell is a better strikeout pitcher than Walker Buehler. So I see both situations as relatively similar. They both have, minuscule run totals going against them. Buehler is getting a sea of right-handed hitting for the Mets, which I think is incredibly beneficial for him. So for me right now, it's really just a price play. The fact that Walker Buehler is $1,700 cheaper than Blake Snell is just something that I can't ignore. And, the public's not ignoring it either. He is at 30%. I see them as very comparable plays once you bring salary into the equation. And just from some of the stacks that I'm looking at, I'm preferring some of the more expensive bats, which is making me just want to have that extra money. So I like them both. I would call them 1A, 1B for this slate. There's very little separating them, in my opinion. But Walker Buehler does make your life a lot easier if you're trying to get any more expensive bats.
Yeah, and I have a few DK lineups with both Buehler and Snell, which I think is achievable, and there's enough cheap guys to get there. So in that spot, I don't mind him. And I also have a few of him as the SP1. But I just don't love it as the SP1 because, I guess to me, I just don't see Buehler's upside being as much. Like Snell, to me, he has that 40 fantasy point upside where you're like, oh, he struck out 12 guys today and went 7 innings, or even had a complete game. Probably not a complete game because that's not his MO. But I just think he has that upside, whereas Buehler, I find it hard to believe that he has that upside. Like I think his upside's maybe high 20s. And that's just more of a gut instinct thing more than anything, but just not striking guys out the same clip. And I think, some worrisome contact where if you told me he gave up 2 runs, I think I'd be less surprised by that or 3 runs even than I would be by Snell doing that. So that's my logic in terms of defining that. But I guess the salaried point is one that's pretty well founded.
I think you're underselling Buehler a little bit, but nothing too outlandish. Been over 20 points his last 4 starts. Had a almost 32-point game against the Reds a little bit earlier in the season. He's just a really good pitcher. I just really like how the Mets set up their lineup. It's basically, Conforto is the only lefty. Otherwise, Buehler gets to just face righty upon righty upon righty, and that's really beneficial for him. Especially in LA, where right-handed power is limited a bit. It's slightly worse than average for righty power, but above average for lefty power. So he's basically missing all of the really problematic home run power as well. As long as he gets through Michael Conforto, which is no easy bet.
Okay. I just like Pete Alonso's a guy who I always end up having on teams. And actually Friday, he was one of my favorite plays who I had in a bunch of lineups. And I had him as like one of my preferred one-offs on the day. So I was glad he paid off. But like, I think he's a guy who he's always kind of at a weird price where people don't want to get there. And he's always, I mean, obviously you can't say across the board. He's almost always under 10% owned. And I feel like he just has these days out of nowhere. And he still has a 7.5% home run rate versus righty. He's still putting a lot of power, a lot of hard contact, 314 ISO. I mean, like, I think he's been doing well enough where I'm not so worried about him kind of getting stuck in the Dodger Stadium righty power issues. But, I think you can make an argument for Buehler as much as you can anybody. On a slate where people are making arguments for Ronaldo Lopez, I think you could certainly make one for Walker Buehler.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Speaking of, how about the cheap pitching here? Actually, before we go down there, Noah Syndergaard at a reasonably similar price to Buehler. Obviously, the results haven't been there that great. I know you've talked about him with Adam with Ship My Money on the strategy show earlier. But what are you doing with Syndergaard, given the fact that price-wise, he does seem like an appropriate fit, but obviously the Dodgers versus righties are kind of a whole different kettle of wax.
Yeah, I have very little interest. I had 7% on my last crunch. That's what the public was at. I figure it'll be down somewhere in that single digits. I'm way more interested in Robbie Ray.
Ooh, okay. Let's go there then. Why Robbie Ray?
Because no one's playing him.
Okay, that's a very Josh
and he's
reason.
and he's 8,200. I generally don't care all that much about cores. I think people overreact to it. And with a guy that has the stuff of Robbie Ray at 8,200, like there's another guy where if you told me that Robbie Ray had 25 plus fantasy points today, I really wouldn't be all that surprised.
I agree with you. I think the thing with me with Robbie Ray, and it might just be something I mentally compartmentalize him at, is he's a guy who gets strikeouts and gives up several home runs in that process usually.
Yeah.
And I think this spot here too, when you have Story and Arenado and their lefty splits, I mean, like Arenado's numbers, obviously everybody's aware at this point of how good he is, but just to go through them real fast, because I think they are so noteworthy that I like to read them out loud. 371 batting average, 450 on base percentage, 401 ISO, and a 200 WRC plus versus lefty pitching going back to last year. Also not striking out, 15% rate on that. So like it's a hard matchup. And I think Arenado is a guy who I feel like I like him as a one-off quite a bit because I really didn't get that many Colorado full stacks today. And that's not a unique take, but I guess he's only 11% owned. But I don't know. I just find it hard to believe Ray is not giving up something to either Story or Arenado today. Maybe even Mark Reynolds.
Robbie Ray went for 23.35 DK points in Colorado a month ago.
But somebody took him yard in that game, I feel like.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, you're right. He could still pitch around it. I mean, the strikeouts have been there, almost 12 Ks per nine on the year. So that's certainly enough to balance out.
He only gave up one run. So if he did, it was a solo shot.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been Arenado, actually.
I mean, like he didn't even pitch all that well. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 1 run, 7 Ks, 3 walks. But if he does that and gets me 23.35 fantasy points today, that's great. And I don't even think that's like a particularly good game.
Somebody in the chat pointing out that I said kettle of wax. It's ball of wax and kettle of something. What is the kettle expression of that?
Fish.
Is it kettle of fish? Okay.
I have no idea.
A kettle of wax fish, perhaps. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, nothing coming up for that one. I think it's kettle of fish and ball of wax. Anyway, wax. It's both those things combined.
Kettle of fish. Holy shit. I thought I just said it jokingly, but I guess that is kind of buried in my head.
A kettle of fish, and there's also fish in a barrel. Fish are in many things in these old-timey expressions that might be a better fit in the Spotlight Pitchers and Sacks article.
What is it? What is a kettle?
Like a tea kettle, I think.
Who the fuck puts fish in there?
When you're boiling your fish.
That's what I mean. Like, what is the word kettle in this example? Because when I picture it as a tea kettle, it doesn't seem as appealing when I have like 6 trout heads inside of it.
Yeah, the meaning and origin. Well, we go deep down this rabbit hole. Yeah. Talk to me about pitching while we figure out this kettle of fish phrase, because I'm curious your thoughts on the Lopez boys. And I'm more Team Pablo than I am Team Reynaldo, but I feel like you'll have a more pronounced view of it all.
I am, if I'm picking between the low pie, I'm taking Pablo. I had a little bit less Reynaldo previously, but really the only reason is I would rather stack the Royals than the Giants.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that fully. Like, I think the Royals would be an appealing stack on any slate, but I think when it's going to be leverage against a good amount of ownership, I think they become extra appealing. The run total hasn't really moved a lot, which makes me think maybe there's something here that I'm missing.
Yeah, I just looking at it now, For me to get to the Giants, I would have to do some manual manipulation to get over the field to hedge against Pablo Lopez's ownership, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. They're not getting that much ownership. But with the Royals, they actually grade out fairly well for me. And, they project really well in Alex's projections. Even adding them in made them better. So if I can bump up the Royals to hedge against Ronaldo Lopez's ownership, that's fine. I'd really like to just be against one of them and hope for the best.
Yeah, and I'm with that too. I'm more against Ronaldo. I have a little bit going against Pablo too, but yeah, same thing. I feel like that stack not the most appealing. Also, to close the loop on this, a kettle can also be like a wide kind of trough looking thing, and that's actually what they use to poach whole salmon historically. So. Yeah, like a trough, like in I guess a barnyard kind of situation where like the pigs drink water out of. That's sort of what this kettle
just filled
looks
with like warm water and fish.
Yeah, fish hanging out. It's fish party.
Yum. Because I was picturing like a kettle, like a big black, cast iron like thing that you just put over fire and toss a bunch of stuff in, but. I don't feel like I want a kettle of fish like that. You can't cook fish for a long time, right?
I know. Well, I guess you can because they fall apart pretty easily.
That's what I mean.
On the way you're making them, though, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Either way, it's my bad for introducing this expression into our DFS show, but I'm glad we know something. We learned something today, which is not always the case on these shows.
I'm not so sure that I learned anything. I'm pretty sure it got worse for me.
Fair enough. Let's talk weather concerns because people in the chat are talking.
Yo, did you see why Carlos Correa fractured a rib?
Oh, his massage thing or his excuse?
Apparently he wasn't going to Robert Kraft's massage place.
No, he was getting man hands on him. He was getting a full massage. Yes, Carlos Correa allegedly fractured his rib or damaged his rib somehow getting massaged, which I could see how that would happen. Like one of those professional level, like shiatsu massages. Those go hard. They're driving knuckles and stuff in there.
Yeah, I guess I would have tapped out long before they were able to break my ribs.
Good point. Well, you're a baseball player. You got a tough body. He's stocky. He's probably got a lot going on. Ochi Blue asking, please move on. I think he means to say, please continue discussing kettles and their various applications related to fish.
Yeah, this is live before euphemisms for something else.
I would watch that show.
And I probably would too. That's the worst part. Yeah. I'd probably be better at that.
Let's talk the weather real fast because people are talking the weather. Apparently, some competitive weathermen are saying that the Baltimore game should be okay. We've had Nick's takes, Alex, on the Osmo Weather Twitter handle. Another one you can follow. No giveaways for it, but it's just a helpful one to your process at Osmo Weather. 31 minutes ago, he said Baltimore looks good. No risk of postponement. In his opinion, Philadelphia still has high precipitation chances, but the radar looks like there should be a window to play. Small chance of postponement. And now 13 minutes ago, there was an update from Alex saying the Philly game is a little bit risky for his liking, given that it will likely rain past 9 p.m. and they play tomorrow, making it a convenient time to reschedule. So seems like Alex a little bit less bullish on the Philly game, but okay with Baltimore. Which way are you swinging?
I'm going to swing whichever direction the boss is going. No, I'm no weatherman. If he's getting a little bit nervous about Philly, like I'm going to give it, 20 more minutes. And if nothing has changed at that point, unfortunately, I think I'm going to remove like my favorite hitting stack and my most exciting pitching fade of the day, which is really going to jack up everything that I was doing.
Yeah, Nola currently projects for a ton of ownership, which will obviously change if that game is obviously going to change if that game is ruled out. But he went to become the chalkiest pitcher on DraftKings over the course of the last few hours. And I wasn't there, so that kind of bums me out because I was ready to fade him too. And actually, I agree, going against Hennessy's, who people are corrected multiple times, I think, in YouTube today. Not Genesis like Sega Genesis. He's apparently very adamant that it's Hennessy's, which logical. Going against him would be nice. So yeah, I guess we're got to come off of it.
I'm a big fan of drinking that Hennessy.
I'm a big fan of Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, nice team total, would have been nice to have, but for right now, I guess we're saying to not play that one.
On my last crunch, I was double the field on the Cardinals. So,
yeah,
that would have been a nice spot. Not fun spot for me.
No, Yeah, I mean I'm still not on board with any Nola renaissance. Like the strikeout numbers have come back up, but everything else still looking pretty bad.
I mean, I like him. I think he grades out really well. I was surprised to see Alex's projection. It felt a little low for me, but then when I started looking into the way that I wanted to construct my stacks, I was like, okay, I'm leaning more towards Alex's side anyway. It's bringing, unsurprisingly, Alex's information brings me to a conclusion that I should have got to from the beginning. Couldn't have seen that one coming.
Yeah, I was already kind of muting my exposure to those two games, so I'm glad the Detroit and Baltimore one we're saying is back on the table, because Baltimore, I do like going against Ryan Carpenter quite a bit, and I didn't want to get off that one as much. And Detroit as well, interesting stacks against America's hero John Means, who I like quite a bit, but I think his weaknesses have been a little bit more pronounced recently, I would say.
Yeah, they're just all weaknesses as far as I'm concerned.
Well, so he's still good versus lefties. That one he's doing well with. Righties, his numbers have fallen out. I don't think the curveball is fooling guys quite as much as it did in the beginning. And his changeup, I think, not quite as much either. But down to 6.2 Ks per nine versus righties, and also up to a 4.3% home run rate versus righties. But versus lefties, though, xFIP of 2.97 Ks per nine, 10.4 home run rate. So if he's only going against lefty lineups, I think John Means is in a great spot.
What did you say those numbers were again for xFIP?
For his xFIP versus righties, he's at a 5.1. For versus lefties, at 2.97.
We're talking about Means, right?
Yep.
xFIP right now versus lefties 4.13.
Going back to last year, I
have no. I'm not. I don't have the 4.5 innings that he threw last year. So he must have mowed every single one of them down, actually.
Yeah, no, because so I use like a long I use going back to the beginning of last year's sample size for my main stats, and then I have like just this year's stats, but I don't split them. So yeah, just this year he's at a 5.1 xFIP, but going back to last year versus lefties, just under 3, and then 10 point. You have 10.4.
He faced 16 batters in 18. We can throw that one right out.
Yeah, but combined we're up to 55 total.
It's all bad. He's just bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get a longer sample size for John Means.
He's just bad. Just trust me.
Whatever. He's great versus lefties, and I think that's going to continue in perpetuity. But going against Ryan Carpenter, I guess going against Means and Carpenter, which side would you prefer to go against?
What do you mean by go against?
Like, would you rather stack Baltimore or stack Detroit?
Okay, I didn't know if you meant like who do I want out of Means or Carpenter? And
no, who would you rather like? Who would you? Because I'm gonna assume you're not playing Means, and I'm also going to assume you're not getting to much Carpenter, if any. So I didn't know that they were on the table. But.
Yeah, no, they're not on the table. I mean, I might have like a lineup or two with one of those guys in, because that just happens. But Tigers for me. I'll probably be like double the field of the Tigers.
Okay. I like Baltimore quite a bit. Like, you're paying certainly a steep price for him, and I think in that perspective, I would say the value on Detroit is certainly there more. And you do have some hitters who can do some damage, and like Castellanos, I think, is a really strong one-off play or as part of the stack. But I think Baltimore, I mean, a lot of power there for these guys, and Renato Nunez in particular has been hitting up to snuff, and I think enough to justify the $5,000 price tag, even though that seems kind of outlandish.
Baltimore's just so damn expensive.
They are.
I mean, I can't spend $4,700 on Dwight Smith. I'm not sure that I'd want to spend $3,700 on Dwight Smith. Like 2 5K guys. You have to use Mancini in the outfield if you want to play both of them. It's just too hard to get to. Okay. I'd rather roster expensive bats that are also good compared to rostering expensive bats that are barely average.
So I see where the point of that is, but I mean, they're going against Carpenter, who has almost an 8% home run rate versus both sides of the plate, and also the bullpen's really bad for Detroit. So like, you're getting about as good of a spot as you can for these hitters. I mean, I get why you wouldn't want to pay for them, because they're not good in the traditional sense, but they have enough home run power. They're all above league average. At least top 4 are all above league average in terms of home runs.
Like, I'd much rather go to the Braves or
I would too.
Either team from Rockies Diamondbacks before I wanted to go to the Orioles.
So would you be in the school of thought where you're never trying to pay like the 5K, like for, let's say, like the Royals today, who I would say like are a similar spot in a good home run park, and they're at kind of a pricey point where people aren't going to be getting there. Would you not be inclined to pay for those guys unless it was direct leverage?
I mean, that helps. I just want them to be talented. That's really my problem. I think the Orioles are just terrible at baseball. So I barely want to get them when they're not expensive. But when they are expensive, it's just so much easier. Like, I'm not really gaining anything. No one has. I think they're too expensive. No one has Ryan Carpenter. I basically just need, if I'm going to roster the Orioles with any sort of volume, and they're getting love. Where are they? They're the third most owned stack on DraftKings from the ownership that I have loaded in right now. I mean, so then I need that to happen and be right everywhere else, and I didn't gain anything from pitching perspective. I just can't pay those price tags for these guys if they're already going to be the third most owned team.
Okay, that seems like a fair perspective to have on it, I would think. I just feel like there is a lot of home run potential in this game, and they have done it, and they have come through enough where, maybe it's worthwhile on a slate where, I don't know. I mean, I guess we have enough power in other spots where that might not be the best argument, but
I project them for the 5th most home runs on the slate. Do with that what you will. It's not particularly meaningful. The difference between the Orioles and the White Sox. Well, the difference between the Orioles and the Rays are 10th, is 0.08 home runs. So, I mean, that's not really like a viable number.
Sure. Okay. You know what? I think that's a fair way to look at it. I think for me, I just tend to see the opportunity. And whenever I see a pitcher who's that bad, who also like gives up a ton of hits, gives up a ton of home runs in a home run park. I mean, Baltimore has also been one of the better home run parks on the year, and also a bullpen who's really bad. I mean, the Detroit bullpen, a 5.2 xFIP, 7.6 Ks per nine. Those are towards, and also a 4.7% home run rate. So they're also towards the bottom of the slate in terms of all those numbers as well. I think the opportunity is there for Baltimore. It's just, you're paying for guys who on paper are not, I'll do the quotation mark good again.
So that's basically exactly where I'm at. Only I just want to have the Tigers because they're like the cheap version of the Orioles.
Okay, you know what? That's a fair way to look at it.
How much? That's why I like the Tigers. I'll be close to double the field.
Okay. Yeah. I have no issue with that. I'm a little bit lighter on them than I thought I would be because of the rain issues before we started the show. And I do make all my lineups before starting the show, and then I kind of tweak as we go if I need to. I think that's a fair take. And I agree. I like Dixon, Rodriguez, Castellanos. I think that those guys have a lot of power, and Means is, again, giving up to righties. It hurts me to say it, that John Means giving up to righties.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be getting 9 of them, or 8 of them today, rather.
Yeah, that's fair. What highest? I don't know. That's not a sentence. Okay, never mind. It was Nick Rahal. If you can decipher that last chat, I feel like it's a question that seems valuable in there, but I don't really know what he's trying to say.
Yeah, go ahead, run that through the translator and bring that one back again, man.
Yeah, Nick Rahal. If you want to take another shot, I feel like you're asking something valuable, but you didn't quite get the thought across well. So try again, and we'll answer your question, because I think I get what you're getting at, but not enough to confidently say it.
We are late.
Oh, home run picks. That's right. Sorry. We started 5 minutes late. So I'm my
get your dongs out.
All right. Let's do the dong picks. I have to update the thing because we had a home run yesterday. Jake's is in there. I didn't get one. EMAC didn't get one. That was frustrating too, because Bryce Harper had 14 fantasy points on the dot, but those were not home run based fantasy points. That hurt.
We need someone to record the dong song. You can just be like, let me see that dong.
Yeah, it's going to go well. That'll be good for our brand.
I think it's great. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, you would definitely be the one who would do it. All right.
You think I can sing or rap like Cisco? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because I agree.
Yes. Both your public persona and your rap ability, very similar to Cisco.
Should I cut my hair really short and dye it silver? Is this what you're telling me?
Or blonde. Blonde was the first one, I think.
I would also really enjoy being part of an R&B group. I'm a big Drew Hill guy. So we are in my wheelhouse right now.
Are there 31 days in May or 30?
31.
Okay. Just updating the sheet for the rest of the week. All right. So update on the standings. Still EMAC in first place with 10. How's that feel, Josh? You're behind EMAC.
Feels perfectly fine because I'm ahead of you.
You are number 2 with 9 home runs on the year. And also, I guess not the least amount, that's still EMAC. Jake has now pulled ahead of me with 8. And I am at 7. So we are like in the turn here where all the horses are close. And anybody can do this in the back half of the season, so I feel good about that. But I'll allow you to give your home run pick first because I'm a classy gentleman.
Sure you are.
Eloquent and elegant.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the whole ball of fish here.
The whole kettle of wax.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to stick with the team that I'm going heavy on, and I'm really going to have to stick with the guy that I can't stand. So, Nick Castellanos, come on down.
Ooh, okay. I like that pick. Should I put him as Nicholas or Nick? Because that's always the issue I have when he's in lineups.
Dude.
I'll go Nick.
Yeah, so that guy's response to "What are you trying to say?" Took us in a completely different direction.
Oh, okay. That never mind, Nick. Sorry, thought you were going somewhere else, but yeah. All right, Nick. Great thoughts, though. Great thoughts. Keep them coming. All right, for me, I will go with who's the guy? Yeah, I think I have to go. I have to go against Ronaldo.
John Shipp dropping the 5 steps. Drew Hill. Yeah, dude, that video hugs at the heartstrings.
I'm going to go with Hunter Dozier.
Okay.
Which I feel like is not a play that's been picked by anybody this year, would be my guess.
Seems like a safe bet. 54th in the model. That's not so bad.
You are not, I feel like you're not adequately counting his, I don't know what you're not adequately counting. You're not counting something adequately for. He's been hitting well this year and hitting well going back to last year versus righties.
Yeah, look, I think 54th is really good. There's 152 guys on the slate.
We're the top 33rd percentile, me and Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, is it my favorite pick? No, but it's like a completely reasonable home run play.
Jake just had a funny joke, which he retracted. I feel like he didn't get the wording right. Yeah. that was a good one. You think he was coming with a Sean V joke there?
Great.
Oh, that's right. Matthew Protowell. That's right. On the Four Corners video, Matthew did pick Hunter Dozier for his home run. So that, or his double dong. That's what we do on that video to differentiate. Totally different game there.
I think Jake rewrote his message.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to read it?
Yeah. Ooh, Josh, bad pick. Castellanos has never donged on a Wednesday on the road when the weather is rainy and below 64 degrees. I don't know when Sean V hacked Jake, but here we are.
And Emac's pick is in Emac going with Matt Adams. So let's talk about stacks a little bit, because this stack intrigues me from a metric, which I started to look at a little more, the aggregate home run rate. Gausman is a guy who I liked more this morning and didn't quite get there as much as I thought I would. But Washington's kind of intriguing. That total's on the rise. Their home run rate versus a righty is pretty strong. And a lot of guys here can do that damage, including Howie Kendrick, a player I know you love and adore. What about Washington stack-wise? Are they one that's coming up for you at all?
Not really. I'll basically just be with the field. Again, since Gausman's not getting much love, I'm not like, the Nats just kind of fall by the wayside. So I'll be in and around the field. I like the lefty bats for sure. Matt Adams on FanDuel at 2,400 is a fantastic play. He's $9 on Yahoo. I think that's great too. I do like Trey Turner at his current price tags across the board, particularly with him leading off. So if you get to some sort of like Matt Adams, Juan Soto, Adam Eaton, Trey Turner stack, like I'm fine with that. They're just not a team that I'm like actively targeting. Whatever I get, I get. I don't expect them to be at the top. I don't expect them to be at the bottom. They'll just kind of float around in the center.
Yeah, I had some Nats stacks yesterday that did well for me, and which Howie Kendrick, again, not to just dwell on him, but he was part of that did really well. They get over 20 points, which was helpful on yesterday's slate, because that was kind of a not the best slate, I think, overall. I'm intrigued by the stack, to be honest. Like Gausman, his home runs have been down this year, but he does have a 3.1% rate going back to last year, so maybe you could say he's due for some of that to trickle back up. And the weather is certainly going to benefit hitters in that park, and a warm Atlanta day over 90 degrees, it looks like. So yeah, I think it's intriguing. Oh, and Jake Hari's home run pick is in. He is going with a Royal as well, Adalberto Mondesi. Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. Mondesi coming in at 42nd.
Oh, come on. Ahead of Dozier?
He's not. There's more Royals ahead of that. There's 2 more even further up.
Let me guess. Soler's got to be higher up there.
Soler would be correct. 26th.
And O'Hearn?
Correct. 34.
Yeah. Look, a lot of guys there hit home runs. So Now I'm worried to ask the rates, but I have Dozier at a 5.1% rate versus righties going back to last year. Soler at a 4.2% rate. O'Hearn at a 5.5% rate. So those guys would all. That's why I would have Dozier ahead of Soler, but not O'Hearn.
I have the Royals projected to hit 1.29 home runs today, which would be ninth.
Okay.
Again, they could be fifth by increasing that by 0.06 home runs. So they're behind. There's one tier north of 1.5. It's Rockies, Cubs, Tigers, Phillies. And then there's this big tier of Orioles, White Sox, Braves, Cards, Royals, Rays that are all kind of jammed in like the 1.3 area.
People wanted to talk about the Rays, and we'll hit on that in a second, but we are, viewership's going up. So real fast, just want to make sure you guys are aware of the giveaway we're doing. I mentioned in the beginning of the show, but now that people have filled in, first of all, hit that like button. We appreciate that. It's just good manners to tip us with a little like on YouTube. Costs you nothing, but means the world to us personally and professionally. But also, we are giving away a special thing for the NBA Finals right now on the @Awesemo_com Twitter. You can win a free year of all access plus a one-on-one coaching session with Awesemo himself, Mr. Alex Baker, a lovely man to spend time with on a personal and a professional level. All you have to do, guess the closest number of total points that the Warriors and the Raptors are going to score in game one. It's currently at 213.5 over and under. So, just want to guess around that, be lazy, that's fine. But also, if you go more unique than that, you'll get a better chance of winning this prize also yourself. And it is a $700 value just for the free year of all access, not counting the coaching session, which again, priceless, really something you can hang on your wall along all the artwork you have. All you have to do, reply to your guest to the pinned tweet on the @Awesemo_com Twitter, and just retweet and follow @Awesemo_com and Awesemo NBA. There's details on the pinned tweet on our Twitter right now, so go check it out. Go support the giveaway and go win yourself something. Again, that's a pretty big value. Josh, $700. I mean, that's like a big GPP win for somebody out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's massive. It's you get a lot of information over the course of a calendar year. You can't beat it. You really can't beat it.
And you get all the sports. I mean, we have stuff coming up for NBA Summer League. We have WNBA going on right now. Josh mentioned our PGA content, which we have the free stuff on YouTube, but also premium content that Jason Roslin and Ben Rosser are both handling a really good part of and doing great work for a lot of people. So different ways to make money using that. Use that free gift to make money. That's the way you should do it.
Mets lineup is out. Very, 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 very marginal downgrade to Walker Buehler. They've got Dom Smith in the lineup hitting second, so that's another lefty bat. Smith, not very good. Projects to strike out a little bit above average. So getting the lefty bat in there helps the Mets, but essentially Walker Buehler is neutral for that change.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Chavari is in there. That's interesting because I was getting him on Cruncher, and but didn't think he was going to be in the lineup. But here we are. Just update that real fast.
Here we are.
All right. So people are asking about the Rays stack, and they are one that kind of interested me because of the lefty splits, and it's a lefty-heavy lineup who also with lefties who can really do damage. I think they're interesting going against Trent Thornton, a guy who's had a 5.2 xFIP versus lefties compared to a 4.1 xFIP versus righties, and a 5.6% home run rate compared to a 2.8% rate versus righties. So he's been weaker there. He's also striking out more lefties than righties. So, maybe there's a little bit of a give and take there. But I think they could be an interesting stack today, all under 10% owned. And I didn't get there and kind of wish I did. I feel like the only guy who came up for me on Fantasy Cruncher was Eric Kratz, and that's not the sexiest pick out of all of them. But what are you doing with the Rays?
I essentially won't have them. I rarely do get to them unless they're going to be in a really advantageous park or against a really, really bad pitcher. I just rarely get to those guys. They don't project for. I'm just hopping back over to it. It's a difficult park. At the very easiest way to describe would be slightly below average for home run power. And they have above average power hitters, but none of the truly elite, 3-4 guys above 200 ISO type guys that you would really expect. So I think they're a really good lineup. They're rarely a team that I look to full stack. I wouldn't be surprised if I got some Austin Meadows because of his low ownership. I don't mind paying for him as a one-off. I can see getting to Choi or Brandon Lau. But I don't really see myself getting to a full 5-man. 4 outfielders in the first 6 spots. It's just not like the most fun squeeze for me.
Yeah, I think a mini stack is a little more like for the reasons you mentioned, a little more justifiable. And Choi is at a really nice price. I mean, 3,700 on DK,
Yeah.
and he does have that power going against the righty. So he is a guy who I'd be interested in. But I agree, it didn't naturally occur to me. And also that total, I think, has come down. I feel like it was at 5 earlier today, but I might be misquoting. But I feel like it was at 5 earlier.
I
And
have
now we're
no
at
idea
4.
what they were at before.
Yeah, I usually keep a better kind of mental log of that one. I think it's come down a little bit, but I'm not sure how much. We talked about Atlanta. They are now the highest team total on the slate by a pretty decent margin, especially if we're ruling out Philly. Let's just go through it real fast because Anibal Sanchez, a guy who's not been great on the year, but I don't know. I feel like there are some health things which maybe will level out as the year goes on, and maybe just some positive regression in general he's due for. But I like Atlanta a lot, and they also naturally occurred for me in terms of the optimizations. They came up a bunch. So what are you doing with Atlanta?
I'll have some. I won't get to the same amount as the field because the things that I like, which are the first 4 hitters, get mitigated by the fact of how little I like the guys below them. So I'll get Acuna, I'll get Freeman, I'll get Donaldson. I don't get the sense that I'll get them as a 5-man, especially with Anibal Sanchez not getting any ownership.
Okay. Yeah, I like them overall. I mean, we talked about the weather a little bit. It's a warmer day there. That's certainly going to be better for Atlanta days overall. And Sanchez, I guess the one concern would be even when he's been bad this year, he still only has a 3% home run rate, which would be just a hair above league average. So not giving up a ton of power, and also hard contact he's been limiting pretty well. I mean, or at least in line with where he's been in the past, only 30.4% hard contact overall. So, I think the stack appears appealing, but I think that's sort of, we talked about this with the Braves before. They always kind of look appealing and then feel like the entire stack falls short. And I think it may be that situation again today.
Yeah, they're not somebody that I could really get a ton of, but that run total is hard to ignore completely. So I'll have pieces, but I won't have a ton of 5-mans.
Yeah, the bullpen too for Washington. Also, I mean, you can make an argument worse than all the others on the slate. And we do have 2 pretty bad ones with Baltimore and Detroit. But Washington giving up a ton of hits, also a pretty poor xFIP. Maybe not as much in the way of home runs, but a lot of fly balls, which could be a problem in a sort of humid air today. I think there's a logic to go into them, but it does feel kind of weird to get there because they're priced well or not well. They're priced highly, and they're sort of, I don't know. They feel like they're not naturally the most logical thing, I guess.
I'm with you. We're on the same page there, I think.
Who else are you getting stack wise that we haven't hit on?
That's a good question. I'm pulling Philly and I'm pulling that game out.
Right.
And I'm not really happy about that. But
I agree.
I'm just really nervous about it.
So I guess is there going to be a natural stack that you think ends up filling in for that, or you're just going to see where it goes?
I honestly have no idea. I literally just clicked delete right now, so we're about to find out.
Excited. Drum roll.
Look, it might play. I'm not confident that it doesn't, but my problem is I really like Philly, and I can't go into it with Philly being like my number 2 stack. And otherwise, like, I'd rather just not have it as a part of anything.
I think that's a fair take. I'm on the same page with you. I think I've gotten most of my Philly out already, and it sucks. It was a nice spot, very nice spot versus Hennessy's. But
yeah, who do maybe another day? Cardinals, right? Just clicking on the teams blind to pull them out.
All right,
but yeah, they're not going to exist for me.
All right, so that is our official take right now on the Philly game. Of course, you want to be sure. Marcos in the YouTube chat saying, "Be a gambler and play them." That is true. Do you want to be a gambler, Josh?
No.
No, not feeling a gamble.
No, not so much.
Yeah, so we just answered James Bawayan's question as well. We are not expecting that game to play right now, or at least we're not confident enough. It's certainly possible, but
I just don't want it to play. I defer to Alex for like actual decisions. I personally just don't want to play it or manage that scenario.
Yeah, it seems like a fair approach. I want to address one thing real fast because people I did see talking about it both in the YouTube chat and the premium Slack. Stacking against Blake Snell. A lot of people seem to be talking about Lourdes Gurriel and his potential of hitting home runs, and I feel like it's been a popular meme from what I could tell amongst the chatters. Anybody, and I didn't mean to say that so derisively, but as people chatting, I feel like I've been saying it a lot and throwing that take out there. I don't see it going against Snell. We talked about Snell up top, but I feel like we probably have some new people tuning in. Stacking against Snell, is that a thing you would consider?
I doubt I have any. With Vlad Guerrero out of the lineup, that really lowers the things that I liked about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that I don't get them. It would really, really surprise me if I did.
Okay.
Damn, I need to get moving. 15 minutes.
What else? Oh, so here's a game that I know Chris Randone in his article that he wrote today. Of course, our coworker who was on The Bachelor. There's so many who it could be, but in fact, it was Chris Randone who was on The Bachelorette rather. And he had an article today where he was talking about the Houston stack going against Kyle Hendricks, and had some interesting stats in there about some of their success, I believe, versus sliders, and then Hendricks that being his go-to pitch and some stuff like that. And he was bullish on them. I didn't get them naturally, and I didn't force my way to them like I did yesterday, which was good yesterday. It was a very good strategy because Bregman was very low owned, and it's still pretty reasonably priced overall as a team. And now they're getting a matchup that's going to be better for the lefties in there, theoretically at least. Any Houston for you, given this kind of lowish team total for them?
It doesn't appear that I'm going to be getting to Houston. No issues with like Bregman or Brantley, Gurriel. I think Reddick looks fine. They're just not the same team with all these bats out.
Yeah, I think it's a fair way to look at it. I wouldn't mind them if the matchup were a little better. I mean, not that I think Hendricks is any great shakes at all, but he does limit home runs. He does kind of limit hard contact for the most part. I think he doesn't get strikeouts, so that's a positive for sure. But overall, like not a guy who I think is ripe to be targeted against, and it didn't come up for me. And the team total didn't make me think, oh, I really need to get there today. But I could see the logic in wanting, a low-owned Astros team, never a bad thing, but this one, they got to avoid massages. That's really the main thing.
Yeah, they're just not the same Astros team for me.
Yeah, they're too loose, some could say, too well massaged.
Something like that, yeah.
Also, if you are not a premium member of Awesemo.com and you don't want to enter that giveaway because you just hate free things coming your way, use that promo code live before lock, get half off your first month on any package at Awesemo.com. Get an MLB one, get all the information we have there, the top stacks percentages, the ownership projections, the regular projections, the rankings. We have all that stuff, the deep dive column every day, a lot of things that'll help you make better lineups. The lineup builder as well, most directly will help you with that. But go check that out with promo code live before lock for half off your first month. Pharmacist Yoho asking you, I think you said the Orioles seem to be projected chalk VR and Nunez, correct, on the earlier show today? I feel like you could just check our ownership projections.
Yeah, that's coming from Premium Slack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up, man.
They are not that chalky at this point. It's the most recent update that I have in my sheet. So
actually, I really don't have time to be checking this.
Oh.
Anyway,
here's a question from Raboshua, whose name I always mispronounce. I find myself on so much St. Louis. Am I insane? Not only quality bats on their own, but leverage against Nola. I mean, Josh, you were there too, but you've changed your stance. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was going to do that. I've taken the game out. So
yeah, I may keep one Phillies lineup in there because what's one lineup? Who cares? In case that somehow goes off. That's the approach that you don't want to do. You don't want to have swaths of these guys, so whatever.
Right. Yeah, if you're going to do it, full stack them for sure.
Yeah. I have one game which I think covers both sides of it. That was how I approached it in case it got rained out. It was like, all right, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Yeah, don't one-off anybody from that game. That's a bad strategy. If you're going to go for it, go for the gusto.
Yep, I agree. Let's see. No questions in the Slack worth hitting on. YouTube, checking you for questions now. See if anything good, drop it in there. Also, any games that we didn't hit on that are worth touching on. Cubs going against Wade Miley or Wade Miley. We didn't talk about that part of the equation. I did see some people kind of touting Wade Miley earlier, and he's had some good results, but I don't see that occurring again versus a Cubs team who doesn't strike out a ton and also just can mash a left-handed pitcher. But any Cubs for you going against Miley or Miley, I guess?
Yeah, I'm going to have some Cubs.
Okay. But
no I'll be over the field for sure.
But no Miley.
No, I will not have any Miley.
Okay. Yeah, Cubs actually kind of interesting. I didn't get there, but the prices though are kind of onerous.
Yeah, I'm not no Miley, but Cubs are grading out like third for me right now. So we'll see where that ends up. They'll probably tumble a little bit for leverage purposes, but it'll be nice to see. I just finished my FanDuel crunch right now. Loading that up, and then I'm finishing off DK.
Okay. So Kevin Zoe is saying the game stack of Houston Cubs at the same time we were talking. That's okay. Great minds, Kevin Zoe. Good job by you. Timothy Ross's St. Louis game a go. It's not looking like a go right now. We're erring on the side of not playing it, but it's still possible that it plays. But
yeah,
Josh and I both are mitigating our exposure as we speak.
Yeah, it is not a go for me. I would defer to the Osimo weather account for like legitimate weather takes because I don't have them. I just have my personal risk tolerance. And, judging on Lofty being like, yo, I think my house might fly away during this deeper dive, just going to skip it.
Yeah, Lofty was having some issues, and hopefully everybody in that area is doing okay. The postponement risk has gone up as well on our projections, which are a part of our projections at Osmo.com if you need another selling point. But we have it up to a 33% chance of postponement, and we never really go much. I mean, we don't go super high generally, I think, in those. So that's about as good as you're going to find in terms of a risk.
I'll say this much. It is great for me to know that it's that high. I feel way more comfortable Xing that game out, knowing that's where Alex is dropping that number. FanDuel exposures, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
First pass, 19% Snell, 17% Walker Buehler, 21% Robbie Ray, 13% Kevin Gausman. Top stacks, Tigers, Royals, Rockies.
I like that you got to Gausman.
What?
I like that you got to Gausman. Like I got spooked off of him, but I still think on paper he looks like a better play than not.
He's the 10th most expensive pitcher on FanDuel right now. Is
really?
Really all that there is. But I'm going to make a couple little adjustments here to get a little bit of a bump for some leverage. But other than that, I don't see much that I need to do.
Yeah, Gausman, I think, is one of those guys. I mean, obviously that's everybody in DFS baseball in general, but can really go either way. But I think there are some signifiers that are positive. The Vegas total going up, not a positive one necessarily for him. But I think I should have had more exposure to him if I'm going to have a lot of nationals or a good amount of nationals.
Yeah, I got to just under the field on the Braves, so there's that.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
That's FanDuel. I'm exporting DraftKings right now, and then we'll know it all.
Okay. Well, we'll literally know everything once you export your stuff.
Exactly, literally everything.
One of the Lopez pitchers will be in the winning lineup. I don't think that's impossible.
I mean, they're going to be in enough lineups for that to be mildly relevant.
Yeah. I would still favor Pablo significantly, but I think it's possible that either can go that way.
I prefer Ronaldo Lopez in tournaments in like a vacuum just because he's a better strikeout pitcher, but not
I don't
super worried about that one way or the other.
I feel like they're pretty even strikeout wise from where, well, on the year, Ronaldo's been a little bit worse. 8.6 compared to 8.71 for Pablo.
All right. DraftKings exposures, you ready?
Yep.
First run, Blake Snell 35, Madison Bumgarner 13, which I didn't expect. 55 going to Walker Buehler, 26 to Robbie Ray, 21 to Pablo, 14 to Ronaldo. I also have quite a bit of, I have 9% and 7% of Sparkman and Carpenter.
Oof. I got like one Sparkman and I was like, I think that's enough Sparkman.
I also have almost 3 times the field of the Tigers, so I can safely back that off a little bit. Don't need that much. Lots of Royals, though. Lots of Rockies. I did get to some Marlins hedging against the Madison Bumgarner ownership, which I find to be a little interesting.
Someone asking about Pablo's ownership right now on DK. We have Pablo at 34, Ronaldo at 26, and you can see all the ownership for yourself. Use that promo code Live Before Lock for half off your first month, but only the Lopez's are free. That's the one rule we have as a company. Everything else you got to pay for.
Yeah, you only get the low pie.
The Lopezes.
I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna manually back off some of my Marlins exposure on DraftKings. I don't need to be like 3 times the field on a team that I don't think is particularly good.
They've been hitting well.
Yeah, I'm gonna just assume that that's an aberration.
So one thing that jumped out to me with Miami, because I was trying to figure out like why are they doing this or what's exactly gone right. Doubles and triples have been up for their park factors this year, but everything else still sucks.
I just assume they're getting shit lucky.
Yeah, also that's probably a fair point. but it's a thought. Castellanos better go yard.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That's true. That is Josh's home run pick for the day. Of course, the home run picks, if you missed it at the halfway point of the show, Josh went with Nick Castellanos. I'm going with Hunter Dozier, who also a great song he once wrote for Jan on The Office really is what worked.
What?
Adalbert. No. Adalberto Mondesi for Jake and Matt Adams for the home run leader on the board. Your old pal Emac. That man, what a twist! What a twist on that one.
Tell you what, didn't expect to go into this slate with Tigers, Rockies, Royals as my top 3 stacks on DraftKings. Yet here we are.
Yay! All right, so you're on the Royals. Good. Welcome to the club. Hopefully, you got some Hunter Dozier in the mix.
I have 3%.
I'll take it.
But I am double the field on the Royals.
The only thing that's going to be the prey tonight are the balls being thrown by Ronaldo Lopez.
Sure.
And also the kettle of fish. Those 2 things will be the prey for Hunter.
Exactly. All right. DraftKings lineups are going to go in. Good news is, can't go any worse than the early slate did.
I'm not, whenever you guys are tilting over the early slate, it's really impossible for me to play it and do the stuff we do content wise because of being on the West Coast. I'm always grateful. I feel like I'm not playing the early slates. I feel like they always kind of get wonky.
Dude, I'd say the last 5-6 times that I've played like an early slate or just a specific 4-game slate, I've had a pitcher at like 75-ish%, and they have gotten absolutely bludgeoned. Luis Castillo a couple of days ago. Chris Paddock gave up 2 home runs immediately today, 4 on the day for the Yankees. I could probably go back and just see all of the days where my ROI is like -75 on the early slate and point out the other guys. But just lately, whoever I take that stand on a short slate is getting just waylaid.
So keep that in mind the next time you see Josh talk about an early slate. Just you want to run with the fade on just that one particular thing. Maybe that's the move. And that'll be the day that you go off and you bank one of your little early slates.
Somebody just hit the home run for Oakland? Matt Olson's home run 16 minutes ago for Oakland. I don't want to say saved my day because it didn't, because I'm taking a beating. But it took me from like really embarrassing to this feels like a normal loss.
I got an alert for Marcus Semien hitting one today, even though I didn't play the slate. And I think it's because I played him yesterday. It was like, oh, you still care about this guy, right?
Yeah, I needed that. Adam, I was very heavy on the Padres, and they went out and got bageled. So, I'm not going to have a great day.
Padres will do that. It's in their nature.
Yeah.
All right. No questions in the YouTube chat. So anything else you're feeling kind of actually Paul Blackburn tonight, even though Makad didn't ask it, I accidentally didn't answer Makad's question about massages earlier. So we'll answer it for you because you're our buddy Makad. Who would be your pick of Paul Blackburn tonight? Of course, a historical award that goes to a pitcher who is kind of bad, but cheaply priced enough that he may be in a tournament winning lineup.
Glenn Sparkman.
Ooh, that's a good pick on DK.
Yeah. I have 9%. Okay. I also project him for 3.6 strikeouts. So just in case anybody's curious, he sucks.
Yeah, he's bad. Ryan Carpenter, I really can't see it for. And so I'd have to go a little bit higher. I guess Reynaldo Lopez for me, even though I'm actively avoiding him and in fact going quite against him, I think he would be the one I would go with.
He and Paul Blackburn are not comparable people in terms of DFS.
Really though?
Very, very really.
I mean, Reynaldo gets strikeouts, I guess. So
he's had 4 starts north of 20. He had a 42.5 point start this year.
All right. No, you're right.
Look, he's generally bad, but here are his scores this season. You ready? This is a GPP pitcher if you've ever found one. I'm going to start at the beginning of the season. -1.6. I'm just going to round them off. -1, 3, -5, 21, 21, 42, 5, 5, 29, 10, -8.
That's a fun one.
He's either just absolute gutter trash or he's the nuts.
Huh. All right. Yeah. So I was going to say he and Giolito, I feel like they both have had, at least fantasy wise, resurgences or sort of upswings in terms of production.
Giolito's been downright good this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember last year, I feel like he was a pitcher that we might have made fun of, or you might have at least made fun of Jake being on because he wasn't that good. I might be mixing up with Jake Junis or Danny Duffy, but
no, I've always been a really big Giolito believer in him righting the ship just because he came about, from when he got drafted. I was still heavily following MLB prospects at the time, so I was always team Giolito. And even when he started making like little bits of moves, when we first brought when we first did the FanVice acquisition, did the process show with Adam, and we spent like 45 minutes digging into Giolito, and we're like, we think these changes are real. Like, we're gonna go ahead and believe in them. And he went out and got bombed and got ripped out of that game in like an inning and a third. But now it seems like he really is riding the ship. He's been pretty good all season.
The premature buy-in is always the one that hurts the most as a content person. Really, like,
dude, I never really do that. I never dig into pitchers like that and make like manual adjustments. And I was like, yo, this Adam, like, I didn't really know Adam at the time. I was just like, this Adam guy knows his stuff. Like, I'm glad we dug through all of it. I should probably be doing this. It's Lucas Giolito day today. And yeah, if I look back, I could tell you exactly which start it was, but I'm pretty sure that he went an inning and a third.
We're locked, but one last question here, because this is for a later slate, so I feel like it's still relevant. From Alex Armstrong, any thoughts on Tim LeCastro, who is at 4,800 hitting leadoff for Arizona and Coors, and he is priced like a man who exists and has been around for a while, but what are your thoughts on him? Because I only have his sort of limited sample size view.
I have 8% of him right now. Grades out solidly. I rarely have much problem taking a leadoff hitter. I definitely don't have much of a problem taking a leadoff hitter in Coors. Look, LeCastro is not great, but if this game is high scoring, you know, the chances of him seeing 6 plate appearances are very good. And 7 are in play.
Yeah. He hasn't hit for a ton of power yet, just the 125 ISO and 25 at bats versus a righty, but
no power there whatsoever.
Stuff.
No power there whatsoever.
But yeah, not striking out either and getting on base and getting hits. So I think it's been looking more good than bad for him thus far.
Here it is. So he went 1 1/3 in 2 separate starts in September. One was on September 4th against the Tigers, which I assume is the one we were looking at. But he also went 1 1/3 against the Twins on September 28th. But I would guess that the first one would have been September 4th, depending on acquisition day.
Yeah, because it was like end of August, right? Because I was on vacation that week, I think, when it went.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that later one then. Although I can't imagine we would have dug so deeply into him in this last start of the season. But yeah, he went faced 10 batters, gave up 4 hits, walked 2, gave up 5 runs, and they were just like, get on out of here.
Well, the important thing is that he tried for you guys. That's all you can ask. All right, we're done. We are locked. So thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. And of course, please do check out that giveaway that we have on the Osmo_com Twitter. All you have to do is guess the points between the Warriors and the Raptors in tomorrow's game. If you are the closest one, you'll be winning a free all-access pass for 1 year, which is just under a $700 value, as well as a one-on-one coaching session with Osmo. A lot of people have questions for him. Obviously, now he's on the deeper dive 3 days a week, which has been great, but you can get your full unfettered access to him if you win this giveaway. So go to the @Osmo_com Twitter, check the pin tweet. You'll have all the details there. You just have to get your guess in before everything's locked tomorrow, before tip-off begins. So go check that out now. And Josh, anything else plug-wise you want to hit for all the content we have coming up later today?
Come back at 9:00 tonight to check out the PGA Live Before Lock stream with Ben Ross and Jason Roslin. And in 7 minutes, check out the YouTube channel. Alex and Chris Randone did another Fantasy Cruncher video. This one based on ownership for FC Pro. So if you want to check it out, it will go live and premiere in 6 minutes.
Yeah, so subscribe, hit that notification bell. You know where we have new content coming out. And that one's going to be a helpful one for a lot of people who are trying to figure out ownership things. I know we always have questions about that. So make sure to check that out. And I'll be back tomorrow. I'm here the rest of the week. So and I'll be back with Josh. What do I have you tomorrow? I don't even know how this goes.
You do not have me tomorrow.
I think I have Jake the next 2 days, I think.
You do have Jake the next 2 days.
Okay, so yeah, I got Jake the next 2 days, but Josh will be on the strategy shows. Josh will be doing other stuff. So keep your eyes peeled to the channel. Lots of stuff going on. We appreciate each and every one of you for watching. We appreciate you more if you hit your like button on the way out, because that also just helps us keep the lights on. But thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck tonight, and we shall see you again soon.
Deuces.